Hello, everyone. This is a recording of the Finance Committee meeting of the Town of Great Barrington on Tuesday, October 21st at 6 p.m. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and Governor Healey's March 3rd, 2025 order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body, this meeting of the Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public and committee members may attend the meeting remotely following the instructions at the top of the agenda, and every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law 7C 30A, Section 20, Parent F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body, or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any such recordings. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listings of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law.
I did want to let you know I am doing a backup audio recording just to say.
Great.
Okay.
And is anyone else doing a recording? I know the town does a recording.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's the town recording, but I do a backup audio. Yeah.
I just didn't know if Ms. Mooney was doing a backup recording as well. Well, in any case, I'm calling the meeting to order, and we'll do a roll call. I'm Rich Geiler, Chair. I'm here. Anne?
Here.
Madonna?
Here.
Michelle?
Here.
We know that Milena Serna is not available to attend today.
And
do we have any announcement?
So Eileen did raise her hand. I don't know if there's, can you?
Yes, Eileen.
Yeah.
Can you promote her?
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. Why am I? Okay.
Hi, Eileen.
I just wanted to say that I am not recording.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. You're just listening very attentively.
I'm listening very.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. Okay, so there are our members. Do we have any announcements from any committee members? Yes, Anne.
Yeah, I think I would just like to let folks on the committee know, I do apologize. I'm dealing with a bit of a family crisis that started in September and unfortunately will likely go through till the end of November. So I just want to apologize. I want to come to every meeting, and I do want to keep finish my term on the committee, but I just need to let you know my bandwidth right now is pretty low, but hopefully it will get better. We'll see. So I apologize if I'm not as well prepared as I would like to be for the next couple meetings.
We're happy to have you in any way we have you here. Your intelligence will help us at any moment. I just wanted to say, Anne, that I had a wonderful session with Natalie Amendola at the town offices, and she showed me exactly how to log in and run a meeting, should that be necessary. She was wonderful. She gave me even a cheat sheet to do it as well. And I know that I have her number and I have Chris's number on the side should anything come up. Okay, Anne, I was ready to dive in today if needed. Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Anything from you, Madonna?
No, I'm fine.
And Michelle?
I'm good. Thank you, Rich.
The only other thing I wanted to let everybody know is I had a pleasant surprise in running into Lee Davis at the Big Y. And it was wonderful to chat with her about various things. I knew she had, started a whole bunch of bills when she first started her tenure. And she explained to me that each year those bills die if they don't get to the floor, and then she will restart them again. But she's very actively involved in trying to do something about school choice, trying to do something about the ambulance services being the emergency services being a necessary service in the state of Massachusetts, among other things. So it was a great to run into her. And now let's see. Shall we go to the approval of minutes? The first minutes to be reviewed and approved are those from our last Finance Committee meeting on September 16th. I have reviewed them and I think they are very good. Has anyone else any changes to request on the minutes from September 16th?
No, I thought they were good.
I agree. I thought they were good as well.
No changes, Anne? Okay, so I move that we approve the draft minutes for our Finance Committee meeting on September 16th. Do I have a second?
Second,
And Michelle, do you say yay or nay?
I say yes. Approve the
And
minutes.
Madonna?
I,
and
And
as well.
I say aye, so unanimously approved. Our next minutes to approve are those of our brief session in front of the select board. And we only have to approve the section in which we were involved. It was a good conversation, but I feel that the draft is very encompassing. I like it. Does anyone else see any changes that they feel need to be made to that particular minutes?
no,
No?
I watched the meeting again as well, and it looked good to me as
Yeah.
well.
Great. Okay, then I move that we approve the minutes for our section of the joint meeting with the select board on Monday, September 29th. Do I have a second?
I'll
second,
second.
I,
And so Madonna,
I,
Michelle,
Yes, I approve.
Anne,
I approve.
and I approve, so it's unanimous. Very good. So let me go back to, I made it as complicated as I could. Okay. This is the next item. Item number 4 is, I think, our most important item today. We had, as Michelle was there, I think others were in attendance. Anne was there. I think you were there too, Madonna, for us to meet with the select board. And we had a very good discussion. But our next step is to turn that discussion into actual verbiage and add it into the Great Barrington Budget and Financial Policy for fiscal year 2027, which ought to be approved sometime by the select board by the end of November or whenever they are able to do that. I know I sent a blank copy to all of you and asked you to put on your thinking caps and see what you might want that to say. But in the packet, I also included my efforts. And can we start by looking at what I put together and see if anyone has any issues with it? It's on page 2 under the heading Debt Management. Do you want me to read it?
I can put it up on the screen, if you'd like.
yes, please, put it on the screen, because I
Yep,
can't
mhm.
split my screen, thanks.
So-
It is, I think, it's the next page.
Yep.
That's it. So that was it. So to avoid
Oh, sorry, I lost it. Give me 1 second. Where to go? Oh, there
yeah.
it is. I just want to make it large. Yeah, okay.
To avoid ballooning debt service payments, make every effort to limit yearly long-term general fund borrowing to 3.5 million or less, the town's historical average. Only urgent and critical borrowing should exceed this average. Does anyone have any questions how I came up with that verbiage?
I do, Rich. Can you?
Yes, please, Michelle, please.
Yeah, yeah, could you go into where, could you go back to that, Anne?
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sure, sorry, yep, okay.
So I wanted to make a statement as to why we were adding this onto this document. And the reason is to avoid ballooning debt service payments for the town. That they should make every effort to limit yearly, long-term general fund borrowing to 3.5 million or less. So I was able to spend some time with Ally, and we went over the years before the 11 million, spike of new borrowing that happened a few years ago, and the average for general fund borrowing was roughly 3.5 million for at least 5 or 6 years. So we think in the current day that is a good cap to shoot for. And that's why we went with 3.5 million. I made the choice not to include the borrowing for the wastewater since theirs is so well managed and so um, I don't know, set in its own bubble. But that was my thinking. Did you have some other thinking, Michelle?
No, I'm just wondering because what was proposed was between 3 and 4 million. So you're landing at
Right.
three and a
Because
half.
we did that little thing. I did that little thing with Ally, and we looked over all those years, and
Okay.
we came to 3.5 being an average that could be justified as the town average in general fund borrowing.
Okay. And you recall during the during the meeting regarding this, there was concern expressed by the select board for emergencies going up and
That's
up.
why that's why I said only urgent and critical borrowing should exceed this average. But what the language I did not put in there was that it would require another vote from the select board or any other thing. The entire budget document is a best policies recommendation. It doesn't have teeth to say anything over 3.5 million, the brakes will be put on and the town will have to get together and allow more than 3.5. Partly because the rest of the document doesn't do that. And also, I could tell from the tenor of the select board that that would not be something that they would support. A hard cap is scary to everyone, and a cap that has a reason for the cap, which is because I'm trying to give them a reason that we want to avoid the ballooning payments. And we've done a historical review and we've come up with a figure which is reasonable. So we wanted to give them with something reasonable. And if they need to go a different way, they have the ability to change the wording.
Does
Well,
this,
Michelle is still on.
Oh,
I just
I'm
wanted to
sorry,
see if
Michelle.
Michelle had any other comments.
sorry,
Because, um, you know, to me, urgent and critical is subjective.
Mhm.
Can we put anything in there? Because there was so much back and forth at that meeting. And paperwork I have, states that an emergency borrowing for an additional 1 million may be necessary. That would, like, 1 million would be up and above. So I guess I understand not having a hard cap. I agree with that.
Okay.
But for me as a taxpayer, to me, this is a little too broad.
Okay.
But
And I think that the select board may alter it no matter what we give them. So your suggestion would be to say an additional 1 million may be necessary for urgent
Well,
and critical borrowing?
Well, this is what was presented to the Great Barrington Select Board when we met. It was, I believe it came from you, Rich. It said Finance Committee recommends instituting a cap on yearly borrowing of between 3 and 4 million,
Right.
with the understanding that emergency borrowing for an additional 1 million may be necessary. So what I'm hearing now, we're not putting in a dollar amount as far as additional, correct?
Well, we're still discussing that. I
Right,
didn't
right,
put it
but
in,
you're-
but I'm
the-
listening to you and
Yeah.
we can discuss what we want to change. Anne, do you, may I
Well,
go on to
Madonna,
Anne?
I do want to acknowledge that Madonna was before me, but I. do
Okay,
wanna jump
very
in
good.
and- Yeah.
I won't, this is actually probably a question for us, but also for Chris Rimble. Is this something that we draft up kind of our wishes, but it needs sort of a legal review? Is that appropriate if, I mean, it seems to me that the select board, if they're changing documents or editing or reviewing and upgrading, that they would make sure that it has wording that is more, more accurate than perhaps what we're putting out there.
Chris, did you have a comment about that?
Do you want me to respond, Rich?
Yes, would you?
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's Chris. No, I don't think it needs a legal review, first of all. I think from staff perspective, this is a target that the policy will help staff to develop the current and long-term capital plan, looking at projects that may be borrowed and projects that are planned, and then trying to see how those fall over a period of years and what the debt service every year looks like. So the policy is good to help us plan. If you add the million, like Michelle might be suggesting, I think
No, that wasn't my suggestion.
okay, that you remarked about.
Yeah, I
Can I-
remarked.
Can I jump in to comment about that?
I just want to finish my thought.
Oh, sure, sorry.
So that adds a cap. Now, keep in mind that whenever the staff comes with a budget to the Select Board and Finance Committee, every year you'll be looking at that and having to approve it. So you will always have a chance to say that's too much that year. And staff will always have the chance to say, here is the emergency and critical borrowing that adds $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever it might be. It might be much more, it might be less. So again, the purpose of this policy document is to show everybody you're setting responsible goals, you're giving staff a good policy to work with. It's all very useful. I don't think you need a legal review. I don't think you need to spend a lot of time wordsmithing this, because again, everything will always come back to you and to town meeting eventually for review and approval. I hope that makes sense.
And I just want to add a little bit to that from the comments I heard from the select board. The more we make the comments a cap, the less buy-in they have for the change in policy. Did you have another comment, Anne?
Yeah, so I guess I'm wondering why we even need the sentence, only urgent and critical borrowing should exceed this average. I mean, I would like to think that when we borrow, it's always for critical things. And the statement before doesn't say that it's a hard limit that cannot, it says every effort should be made or make every effort to limit the long-term borrowing to this amount. To me, that implies, there might be exceptions. I guess if we go to this, keeping this statement in, then I would say only emergency borrowing should exceed this average. I would hope that we only borrow for critical needs and we're not borrowing for anything else. So
You would suggest changing urgent and critical to emergency.
Right, or take that sentence out entirely. I don't know what the sentence adds since it says before, make every effort. So I'm not sure what the sentence adds. But I'm fine. I would not want to keep the word critical in. Urgent to me, we could say urgent borrowing, but that seems to suggest that it would have to be like, tomorrow, but either urgent or emergency and take out critical. If we keep that sentence in.
Well, can I get a show of hands of people if we're at the place, should we keep that sentence in some form or not? Shall I say maybe a yay would say keep the sentence in some form, and a nay would be do not keep that second sentence in any form?
Annie,
Can I
can you put
ask?
it up again?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah. Let me just do that quickly. Yeah.
I just want to.
No, I understand.
As Rich was talking, sorry to interrupt.
So, right, I'm proposing that this sentence doesn't add anything to the policy, but I'm Rich, I hear what you're saying, and I might amend or might alter if it was reworded.
But I guess I would say that Anne would say that sentence should be removed. I wanted to hear from the other
Yep.
panelists what they think. Madonna, what do you think about
Well,
either?
I
Go
think
ahead.
I think urgent and critical borrowing, I'm not sure maybe could exceed this average, should to could, perhaps. I think it softens it instead of it being hard and, firm, that 3 point, to avoid, make every effort, but boy, I tell you, I agree with both Michelle saying it's subjective, and I agree with Annie that we may not need it, but I think overall, I think it shows our thoughtfulness. I think as a finance committee, to show anybody who's not on the finance committee that there's wiggle room, that there are going to be times when, that that we may need all this, we may need extra borrowing. And it sort of softens the blow that we're thinking about, that if there's an urgent and critical, even if it's subjective, I mean, they can make their case. It could exceed this average. I like could rather than should. And maybe that's just wordsmithing.
Well, all of this is wordsmithing in a sense. But am I hearing correctly from the majority of the panelists that a sentence of some kind, a second sentence, ought to be included?
Well, Rich, I think Michelle would like to voice an opinion.
Yes, Michelle, please.
Thank you. I think right now some firmness is warranted. We're in a financial crisis, in my opinion. And so I think there needs to be tighter structure. However, I know what Anne is saying about the second line. For me, is it necessary? No, it isn't, because this is going to go before the select board. I know where it comes from because there was quite extensive discussion regarding it during the meeting. And the select board actually weighed in on the language. But I agree with Anne. I would like to think, as a taxpayer, speaking only for myself, that when we're spending all this money, it is for urgent. Well, I agree. Urgent is kind of that word I would take out, but
okay.
Critical. I think Anne's saying emergency borrowing is probably a better term.
Okay.
But whether that line is needed or not, it's half of one, six of another, because of what the select board said at that meeting. And
I have a feeling that if the line bothers them, they will remove it.
Exactly.
But I think we are trying to tell them what our take on the matter is, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Does anyone else want to speak before I give a possible change to the second line? I would like to say only emergency borrowing should exceed this average. I would
agree
like to
with Rich.
change it to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I agree with
In
Rich.
favor, yep.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but I prefer should to the word could because I think could is harder, is more rigid to me.
Yeah, but
I like should as well.
I'm fine with.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Okay.
say, I'm gonna change it to say only emergency borrowing should exceed this average.
Agree.
So we've come to agreement very
Yep.
quickly. Is
Yeah.
everybody in agreement? I want to
Yep.
take a vote
I'm
on
in
it.
agreement.
Okay, so I'm going to
Yep.
take a vote on it. I'm making a motion that to avoid ballooning debt service payments, make every effort to limit yearly long-term general fund borrowing to 3.5 million or less, the town's historical average. Only emergency borrowing should exceed this average is the language we should add.
I
Okay.
second the motion.
Okay, Lubert seconds. So I'm an aye. Does everyone say aye?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, you guys are unbelievably wonderful
that
because I have had meetings where that takes 2.5 hours. Thank you.
That was good discussion on that.
Yeah,
Good
no,
discussion. I
yeah.
appreciate everyone's thoughtful review of all of that. So now we can go to item 5, a continued review of capital expenditures in advance of November's long-term borrowing for the year. So as a preamble, we're all well aware then that in June, the town takes out short-term borrowing to cover the incurred costs from the previous calendar year that are in excess of what the am I correct? I mean that short-term borrowing is for 2025 expenditures, correct, Ally? And then there are
Yes.
expenditures and contracts that are set until November, and then that's why we're at this place now. We're in November. We're going to do long-term borrowing for the year. And our policy is for 2027. I want everyone to be aware because things move in their inexorable slowness. But Ally sent us a terrific letter that I included in our packet because at our last meeting we did have inquiries as to how much debt service we were expecting coming up. But she modified what those are. Remember, there was someone at the joint meeting who wanted to know which projects were actually going to be borrowed on. And so Ally did a lot of work to itemize those as well as she could and to come up with a figure using the detailed charts that we have in the rest of the packet that kind of tells you the short-term borrowing turned into a long-term borrowing and then the additional expenditures of 2026 added onto that comes up to Ally, maybe you have a more a general number slightly different from 6 million.
Yeah, I believe it's going to come in a little less than that.
Okay,
Mhm.
so we're happy with the word less.
Mhm.
So what we had originally anticipated was 7.5, and if we're going to get less than 6, that's moving in the right direction. I applaud everyone's work in keeping it, well, modifying as much as possible. So I wanted to make sure that you had read that and if you had any questions about the projects moving forward or about the process, this is probably a great time to ask Ally and Chris if they have any comments moving towards the bond request for November. Ally?
Well, we're just getting wrapped up on that. We're working with our financial advisors to get our our POS out there so we can get the bids going. It's, I believe, the expectation is the first week of November. So I won't have complete details on that until everything is released publicly. And once it is, I can certainly send you a copy of that.
Right. So I feel very good about, well, before I move on, Chris, did you have any comments for us at this juncture?
Sorry, no, sorry, I had to turn my video off. I was having some connection problems. So
No
hopefully you
problem.
can hear me okay.
Okay,
Nothing to add.
Okay,
Thanks. Yeah.
great. So I think that we tried as much as we could to understand the process, and I think that we have a much better understanding now than we did at the beginning of this fiscal year as to what to expect and how the process works. Thank you very much, Ally. Thank you very much, Chris. You guys have been terrific. And any other questions from anyone as far as reviewing anything? Yes, Anne.
Ally, oh, yeah, thank you so much for this. And I guess, so if we're looking at about 6 million in borrowing, I'm thinking of the year where there was this huge borrowing that led to a lot of shock in the next year's budget. So this is about half of what that borrowing was that year, which I think was about 11 million. Isn't that right? If I'm
Yes,
recalling the
it was
number?
11.
So, but it does mean we should be anticipating, and again, this is incredibly ballparky because of interest rates and things like that. But this is going to be about a $400,000 hit to our budget for next year. Does that sound about right?
I would imagine, yes, minimally. Yeah.
Because if my recollection was the year of the 11 million borrowing, we were hit with about 800,000 or 900,000. So
Yeah, I was close to 1 million.
yeah. So again, I know this is, there are lots of variables that will influence this, but I think it's something we need. This is, and I think, Rich, this goes to your point. This is why we're trying to get on top of this. We know this is going to come into the fiscal year 2027 budget as increased debt payments. Some debt will come off, but we're adding a significant amount of debt. Yeah. So
And even at our level of 3.5 million, we will still be adding debt and debt service costs. But at this point, I think that we are only at the place where we can stomach limiting those costs.
Right.
I think that the next few years and how they play out will really change the topic in the town as to how we can continue to afford at this level. But we are moving in the right direction in any case. Does anyone want to ask any other questions or have anything they want to know about this particular topic? Or shall we move on to any budget review for September?
I'm fine.
So I think we'll move on to budget review for September. It was interesting, but I will say that the biggest line obviously was the finalization of the lawsuit with the pot shops, and that's what that $4 million line is, correct?
I know, I gasped.
yeah, I know.
The court judgment and the legal fees on top of that. But a lot of that money, am I correct, came from that money that was set aside and not used? So this is a return of funds. Is that correct, Ally?
Essentially, yes, it is in our free cash. But
it was in that.
We've been breaking out the free cash to show you the general fund and this portion that was the cannabis that had to be related to community impact fees.
Right.
So it could only be used for very limited purposes. So we've been kind of retaining that piece of free cash. So what will happen is at annual town meeting, we'll just vote to fill that deficit.
Great. So I'm trying to remember if there were any other surprises in here, more than that. I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised that the Finance Committee's reserve fund hasn't even been touched yet, according to this. So yay for all the work that everybody is doing to try to control expenses. That's just fantastic. But I know that that will get hit as the year goes on. Did anyone else see any other large line item questions they had?
Rich, I don't know if you can see, but Michelle has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. I keep talking and then the sound of my voice just takes over. Sorry about that.
Music to my ears, Rich. But I think something that should be done is I'm being approached by a lot of people regarding this settlement. What does it mean as far as our budget goes? And Ellie, you just referenced about annual town meeting, bringing to vote. I didn't quite catch what you had said about what to do with the deficit, or I didn't quite catch it. Could you repeat what you said?
Sure, sorry about that. And I don't know if Chris wants to jump in on this either, but so a court judgment is a legal deficit. So we are allowed by Mass General Law to carry this legal deficit through as long as we provide for those legal deficits by the end of the fiscal year, by June 30th. So what will happen is we will be doing a vote at annual town meeting to vote that money out of free cash to provide for this court judgment deficit.
Exactly.
Okay. Because a lot of people, and they're going, what is this going to mean?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a lot of money that's being
Yeah.
pulled out. And I know it was for a specific purpose, but part of the quote unquote sell of marijuana businesses was this money. So we have some unhappy voters right now about it. And I go, a legal judgment is a legal judgment, or a legal settlement is a legal settlement. I personally am not happy about it. So what I am thinking is, okay, this was in a special file for only those community impact reasons. We failed at that, or something failed. And so the money that's in there is just going to be pulled out. It's not my tax money. Am I correct? Okay. That's what I need to know, because people are coming to me going, what's going to happen to my taxes because of this?
Yes, it should have no effect on your taxes whatsoever. If you look in any of the budget books from any of the previous years, and I believe it's tab 5, there's a section where we break out free cash and we show you how much is the general fund portion, how much is the cannabis community impact portion. So we've been sort of reserving that because we have that's so limited what we could use it for. We did use some of it, but we held it there in the event that this would happen, we would have the funds. And
I do, yeah, exactly, because I do recall meetings where everything froze because it was in the wind. There have been other Massachusetts lawsuits as well. So thank you for that explanation. Thank you.
And Anne?
Yeah, Ally, or Chris, so it is the case that we've been good at separating the two pots of the free cash. I guess I'm just wondering though, we did report it as part of our free cash. Will this affect, could this affect our borrowing and our bond rating if our free cash goes down?
It will appear as a reduction of free cash. But the point is it wasn't tax money and we couldn't have used it for any other purpose.
That's true. It's a good point. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. I'm all good.
And I just wanted to add that my understanding is that we are not alone among the towns in Massachusetts to have faced this issue. I think just about every town in Massachusetts has had at some time to face this issue, and the money has been returned to the because that was a part of the law that was experimental in a way. So there we are. I'm done.
Mhm.
Any other sections of
I think there's a question, Eileen in the audience has a question.
thank you very much. I'm sorry, I don't
That's
do
okay.
very
I
good
will-
at that. Eileen, may we hear from you?
I have a question. If money was taken out of the selectman town managers area, has it been removed from free cash? Why is it in September? I guess that's my starting point.
I think, I mean, I can actually try to see, Ally, tell me if I'm answering the correctly. My understanding, Eileen, is we can keep it there until, and we need to keep it there until town meeting.
So
then-
it's just been deposited in there.
Or it's been
It's
reserved.
been paid.
Yeah,
It's been paid.
right. Okay, all right.
It
And
has to
so
be,
town meeting will vote to take it out, presumably. Thank you.
it has to be, town meeting doesn't have to vote to take it out of this particular line of court judgments. It's already been paid from that line.
This is
Because it's a
helpful.
court judgment.
It's a court judgment. It has to show as essentially a court judgment.
Mhm.
So what we'd ask town meeting to do is to take the funds from free cash that are not taxpayer funds that can't be used for any other purpose. They will have to be moved from free cash to fill this deficit from which we had to pay it.
It's helpful. Okay. Eileen, thanks for asking that question.
Thank you very much,
Me
Eileen.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh.
I'm sure we'll have to explain it many more times.
I'm
so
sure.
that's fine.
We're-
Had there been any announcement of sorts that the money was being paid right away? I gather not.
Chris or Ally? Was there any public announcement made that the judgment was immediately paid?
Yes, the press releases all discussed that. I believe the press releases indicated that there would be payment.
So are there
would be payment, yeah, but not that that it was going to be immediate. Oh, well, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Eileen.
Are there any other line items in the September sheets, which basically just show all of the expenditures in the current fiscal year through September, correct? Any other line items cause any questions?
I just had a couple, Ally, and I think they'll be quick. Streetlights is, if I recall, is this a line that we're almost always over on? Isn't that right? The streetlights?
The streetlights, I would be willing to bet without looking at it. I'm looking through to find that, but it's probably that it's fully encumbered for the year.
Yeah, exactly. It's all encumbrances. It's on page 7, under DPW, and it's, yeah, it's at there's 96,000 encumbered and only 80,000 in the budget, so, and hardly
Yeah.
anything spent.
Yeah, and there's several deficits in that area that you see
Right,
that
right,
will need to have some tweaking done as far as reducing purchase orders
right, okay.
or doing transfers to correct those deficits. Just so
And
you know.
Ally, at our last meeting, you mentioned that there were still some rollovers from last year's budget. Is that still the case? And so that
Is
causing,
until I finalize FY25 and roll our system Munis over to the next fiscal year, which is a very long, tedious process. But once I get past that and I take care of the software, that's when it will roll.
okay,
You'll be able to see it clearly.
all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other question?
I just want to highlight on page 10, the total debt service line. Just so that everyone is fully aware. Long-term interest, short-term interest, long-term principal, debt insurance costs. It's a good area for us to
look
know
at.
each time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes, and just so that you're aware, quarterly payments come from this. Everything is, all the bonds and things have been staggered so that they come out at different times, but they're all at quarter end dates, essentially.
Right, okay,
Mhm.
great. Great. Have we answered all questions from the budget reports for September, everyone?
I'm good. thank
Seeing,
you.
seeing no hands, let's move on to number 7. Now, when I first announced to the Finance Committee that there were scheduled meetings for the district school finance subcommittee, there are 3 meetings. And the question was raised, will it have a problem with the open meeting law if all of us attended? And I did contact the state, and the state assured me that as long as we don't discuss any of the issues during that meeting or among each other, but just saved any discussion of anything people noticed or learned at any of those meetings that they may have attended, should discuss it at our next meeting. So was anyone able to attend any of those school finance subcommittee meetings?
I couldn't
No,
any of
no,
Michelle
that.
has
I
a
did
hand.
not either. Did you, Michelle?
I did, and not the last one, the one before I did attend by Zoom because I
The
couldn't.
one that
make it.
was involving structure or
Yeah, Melina was there as well. She was
okay.
there in person. My question is, are those meetings recorded on CTSV TV? Because
They are not.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they
I
really
asked about that. They were not. They're only
yeah.
available to view on Zoom, but as with our town, sometimes recordings that are done on Zoom are available through some other path. So I didn't have a chance to contact the district office yet, but that was the question I had that I was going to
Okay.
ask.
It's
But I
just
will
about,
say that the next one on the 30th is regarding basically all the different schools, and you can see in the district website, they have a lot of documents about the meeting that you can review in advance and
Mhm.
afterwards. So that next meeting is about a lot of class sizes and things like that. And I know there were some questions from some of our members about that. So
Oh, it's also, I was curious. So, what I want to avoid is multiple requests for information to the school district. So, Rich, if you can find whether if there are recordings of the,
that is
that'd be
my
great. Okay, 'cause I
duty.
was
I
going to
will
make
do that. I will
and
be
also,
doing that.
and also, I know I work for Lennox, and I know Lennox had their enrollment figures for October 1st were released. So I was wondering if Berkshire Hills had released theirs, whether anyone had looked into that.
Released what?
Their enrollment figures
Enrollment
for,
figures.
You sort
right,
of, you
I
lock
think
your enrollment in October, right?
I think the enrollment figures are going to be pretty much discussed at that next meeting
okay,
on the 30th.
because the process is you submit all of this to DESI, the state, and ours are finalized, and they were discussed at last night's school committee meeting
Oh,
for
I
what.
see. Now the
So,
school committees, they are on CTSB. The school
right, but
committee meetings, yes.
because of of a big part of our budget is the school budget, which is
Right.
tied to enrollment, which is tied to one thing and another. I was just curious if I did not know if anyone went to the last finance committee meeting. I can reach out to Berkshire Hills to find out if we could get the October 1st numbers. If they have them, they should have them.
If I could let you do that, I would appreciate it because
Yeah,
I think you have a better understanding of that, having working in another school system. I think you better understand the
yeah,
parameters here.
I'm happy to.
That'd be
Yeah,
great. I will ask
okay,
about the recordings and we'll have you ask about the
perfect.
enrollment figures.
All right, I'll do that.
Great. Um, so looking ahead, Are there any possible topics that people on the finance committee are thinking we ought to address? Yes, Anne.
Rich, can I just ask a question? I just want to make sure, did we vote on the finance, budget and finance policy? I'm trying
Yes.
to,
We did.
at the
Yeah.
last meeting, we voted on it?
On
No,
what? This meeting, we took a vote and seconded the exact language we're going to change in the document.
And then
And then
everything
I'm
else
gonna,
stayed
and
the
then I'm
same.
gonna send that to the select board and the office for the select
Okay.
board for them to put it on their next calendar to review and finalize for 2027. Yes, Madonna.
Anne, what was your vote?
What?
You asked about that. I'm just wondering, it looked to me like it was unanimous.
Yes, oh yeah, I guess I just want to be, and that what I was thinking is we have to vote on the overall policy, and I just want to be clear that by voting for this one change, we are voting on the overall policy.
Well, Anne, you make a very good point.
Yeah.
Did everybody read the entire policy?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, the policy changes slightly, but not very often. This is
Oh.
probably one of the biggest changes
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
having.
Well, a couple years ago, we made some big, we made a lot of changes, but generally we go from year to year with just one change. But I guess I just want to I guess I just want to be clear that we have voted in the policy.
Well,
with
I think we ought to then cross our i's,
Okay.
cross our t's and dot our i's and vote on the entire policy. But I just wanted to ask if everyone had had a chance to review the entire thing.
Yeah.
Rich, I did review it, and I do have an issue because we just voted on the language
One
regarding-
section,
yeah.
okay.
And I thought maybe we were going to discuss the full policy. I know we have strategic priorities, and we ensure public safety, ensure public health. Well, hey, I'm from Housatonic, and Housatonic water isn't resolved. And you're saying we're ensuring public health. I don't agree with that. We're not. Also, striving for a high quality of life. That's not uniform across our town. I know I'm getting down into the minutia of it, but to be honest with you, those three lines of, ensure public safety, ensure public health, and strive for a high quality of life, I consider them almost like feel-good statements, because I live in Housatonic, and it's a valiant effort, but it's not serving the citizens up here in Housatonic. I'll support the policy, but I think as elected or appointed officials, we need to do better. I do have to say, regarding those, I'm very pleased with this committee in trying to get a tighter grip on town finances. But I keep hearing, I had someone stop at our house on Sunday saying how much his family's hurting. These are, I come from working class parents. My dad was a bricklayer. I know what this is like. And it breaks my heart because people know who I am, born and raised here. I'm a native and one of 8 children. And my dad and mom really struggled. And to hear people what I heard growing up sometimes from my parents, from people today, and then I don't think we're serving everyone equally. And Housatonic water is a huge issue. And I have a different economic base up here in Housatonic than down in Great Barrington as well. So I would not vote against this if we're voting for the policy, but it's language I'm not happy with. I don't think it's accurate. So
May I say, I think your comments go towards the implementation of the policy. Correct?
regardless,
Well,
it's a policy,
but the statements in the policy are not necessarily what you're saying. We're not really implementing what we're saying in all of these statements. Am I understanding you correctly?
Not really.
What would you like it to say if you were to have your druthers?
I would want more discussion on it. I wasn't prepared to bring that because I didn't think we were going to get into the detail
Right,
on this
right.
tonight. And as you know, wordsmithing takes a long time.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And
perhaps this is something that we ought to take the time to more detailed go through section by section as we continue to work throughout the year in preparation for 2028.
I agree.
I
That's a
love
good
Okay.
statement.
I think that's a really good
That's
way to
good.
go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, if I could just, that's partly why I brought this up. And actually, it's interesting, Michelle, because I found myself reading and rereading the strategic priorities as well as I read through this. And right, I mean, in some there it says strive and other it says achieve. And are we achieving what we're claiming to achieve? So I do think it's worth looking at as we, once, I think I do think we do have to have a policy for the budget season. But I think this is something I agree with you. I think we did a nice job of starting to wrap our minds around the capital and the borrowing. This is maybe something we can actually start to really dig our heels into in the coming.
I think we ought to every meeting do a section of this and be clear on what section we want to start talking about. Because your point is very well taken, Michelle. I think we want the policy to reflect actual work on the ground and for it to be seriously taken, right?
I think it reflects an ideal, but are we
Yes.
achieving that? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So towards the end of finalizing what we were working on earlier on the budget policy for 2027, I want to make a motion that we approve the budget policy with the language changes that we voted on earlier for 2027. Do I have a second?
Second, Michelle.
Everyone in saying aye?
Uh,
Anyone nay?
Rich, we're Zoom, so we should do roll call.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, my apologies. So Michelle, your vote?
Aye.
Madonna?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Rich is aye. But we are all discussing the fact that we are going to continue to look at this document and make suggested changes for the next iteration and for budget 2028.
2027.
Thank you all.
2027, 2020.
Well,
2027.
this is
28.
2027's
This is
policy.
27.
So
Right.
we're talking, we would be making changes coming up for 2028 because this has to be
Oh.
finalized by November for 2027.
And this
Okay.
I think this does need to go on the agenda for the next select board meeting to vote on this
Well,
policy.
that's why we want to move it forward and try to get that little bit that we've been working on incorporated. That would be that's my goal. So the moment we're done with the meeting, we've already approved all of that change. I'm going to change it and then I'm going to send it right on.
Right.
Okay. So those are good possible topics. Those are good topics for upcoming meetings. Anything else anyone would like to see? Personally, I would like to invite the new assessor to speak to us. We had the last assessor come a couple years ago and give us kind of an overview on how properties are assessed and the various times when a more deep dive assessment is done. And we have a new assessor in town, and I think she is perhaps a little easier to have a conversation with. And my suggestion is that we invite her again and ask her questions about how that works to remind us and also perhaps learn more. What do you all think?
Oh, I think it's great.
I think it's great.
I think that's a great suggestion, but I have another topic as well.
Okay, great. And your topic?
my previous life on the finance committee, when Berkshire Hills Regional Schools District did their budget, they presented to the finance committees. I think it was was it just was, and do you recall that? There was a meeting with just the town finance committee. Obviously, citizens could attend, and they did away with that.
They did this year.
It was just this year. I think that was a big mistake.
No, you're right. I remember you're right. I do.
Yeah, because the idea that we can ask questions during a public hearing, it's not the same thing. And again, I keep going back to the huge amount of our budget that is the Berkshire Hills Regional School District budget. I think first off, I see it as a courtesy to town finance committees to present to them. So it's something I just would like to talk about a little more at the next meeting, just chat about it.
I agree.
Yeah, especially when you have new members on a finance committee or returning members or whatever. I think it just keeps us, I think it keeps us, the town, connected to the school district by doing it. It's more intimate. And I was not happy when I heard that was discontinued. So if we could, Rich, talk about it a little more later.
I don't know if I think I mentioned to you all that I did send an email to Mr. Dillon and to Rich, maybe you can
Dahoney.
recall.
Dahoney.
Yeah, Dahoney, asking for them to meet with me in preparation for a meeting with the finance committee, and I got a firm no.
And that's that. I'm pretty upset by that because I recall you saying that.
Right. I feel that that has to be addressed.
It does.
And I would like to reach out to them again and try to just drop by on my own. My idea is that I will drop by on my own, and then because I don't see any reason why there ought to be a one-on-one to discuss how that's coming across. It's really not coming across well. And I want to avoid having a discussion. Well, I do want to have a discussion at our next meeting, but I would also like to tell them we're going to have this discussion and we are having pushback on that, what they have decided, and really talk to them about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
In my opinion, it's poor optics. It's like avoidance, and that's exactly what we don't need.
I agree, Madonna. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. I mean, I when I first started putting agenda items on about the school and about the school budget on the I got some pushback from people that isn't this supposed to be a collaborative thing, and aren't we supposed to have conversations? And I'm sure they're open to collaboration and conversations. So I was surprised that they weren't, but perhaps they just took it the wrong way, or they weren't understanding why we think this is so important. And so for that reason, I think we have to keep that discussion ongoing. Yes, Madonna.
Yeah, it's a complex issue, and but the optics, we want to know what's going on, and if we're collaborative, they need to be part of that. We're offering that, and then there's, yeah.
Well, I think so, but I don't want to throw everybody under the bus. I want to keep our conversations open and say we are wanting to have those conversations, and we respect the work they do. I just think it's more the sense of the optics are bad. That's what I see, and I think you put it very, very well. So those are three possible things we have for work. I wanted to talk about our meeting date in November. I believe the next one,
I have
I have
November
to find the
18th.
calendar.
the 18th is what I have on the books.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that we had said before that that was good for everyone. I'm thinking that in December we won't meet, or does everyone feel that we ought to still and
Oh,
stick with our thing?
I heard that the finance committee had a big Christmas party, so that's why
It's yeah.
hard.
Caviar,
Well,
heard
I mean,
champagne,
we're a
yeah.
public
Well,
body, Michelle,
I
and we
heard
would
the
have to
same
invite
thing,
the whole
Michelle.
town, and it's really
I'm
tough.
sorry. That's when Ann was chair, was the
Yeah,
big
we were
Christmas.
at the brewery, weren't we, for this, yeah, party?
I'm sorry.
Thanks
I
a lot,
have,
Michelle.
I have
I'm
no
not gonna make
problem.
any jokes about drinking, but,
Well,
I mean,
so
Bummer.
I just don't know if if you feel that we should meet in December as well, or if we ought to take a month off and come back in January. What are you
I
thinking?
actually have no problem with meeting in December, but I will go along with whatever, because you've been on the committee much longer
Well,
than me.
I have no problem with it, and we will discuss it again in November.
What-
So as long as the
It's the date
16th
is
is
the
still
What's the
okay.
date? What's
the
the date?
16th of December.
16th of December would be the date. It's this our regular third Tuesday. Does everyone think that might work?
It might work,
Maybe.
yeah. it
Okay,
might
so
work.
I'm going to go ahead and let them know we are planning on meeting in December, and then we'll see
See
how
what everybody's schedule looks
I'm
like.
sure we're not meeting in February because those are going to be all of our,
Yeah.
budget
Correct.
meetings.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
I know that the one for next month, I'm out of town for the week before when I normally do all the work and getting the agenda together, but I will have to get it together 2 weeks before and we'll work it all out. But,
Rich, does Ally have, is the 16th, like a good date, or is it like not such a good date? I mean, are we going to have enough to discuss on December 16th, or would it be critical? I'm just trying to figure that out.
Mhm. You would definitely have the November reports, or you would definitely have the October reports. The November ones would be iffy. When would those have to come to you, Rich, to be posted?
you could send them out to everyone when you could. If the meeting can stay on the 18th, it would probably be best for everyone. And Anne, you have your hand up.
Yeah, if we can do the December meeting, it does make me think we will have a new town manager who's in a budget season. I suspect there might be things to talk about, just about the process and how she envisions the process, Ally and Chris, and how it's going. So I think we should keep it on the schedule because
Okay.
it could actually be useful in preparation for the budget season.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Sounds good. So, citizen speak time. Do we have any citizens who would like to speak?
I'm looking for a raised hand. I'm not seeing any yet. No, nope, it's all quiet.
Any media wishing to speak?
No raised hands. No.
All right, then, thank you all for a wonderful meeting. I'm moving to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
I second.
And, Michelle,
Yes, you can adjourn.
Madonna,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
and I say aye. Thank you.
Thank you
Goodbye.
all.
Thanks for
Good
the meeting,
evening,
Rich.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank